Okay. Hi guys. How you doing? Good morning, evening, afternoon. Depends where you're watching us from. So today I'm joined with Kelly. I'm really excited for this episode, and we just want to know a bit about Kelly. Kelly has he's going to work in a different country from Kenya. He's going to work in DRC, but he'll tell us more about working in DRC and what he feels about it. But first, he can just introduce himself, tell us how he's doing, and whether he's excited about the new opportunity that is coming his way. Kelly, on to you.
All right. Thank you, Martin, and thank you for this opportunity. Firstly, I'd like to clarify it's the CR, Central African Republic, which is just above DRC. So you are right about there. And a bit about myself. My name is Kelvin Guchu, short for Kelly, and I cleared with UN Operations Division Specialization. And apart from that, I'm also working, as Martin has said, in Hashi Logistics, which is a company of Hashi Group Limited that deals in the transportation of goods and fuel from our port in Mombasa all the way to East and Central African countries. Also, a bit about myself. I also do a bit of career consulting. So I hope that has answered my question, Martin.
Okay, cool stuff there you're doing. One thing though, the volume, I think you have to
All
project your
right.
voice a bit more
Okay.
because I was struggling to catch some areas.
All right.
Yeah. So, but it's really cool what you're doing, and congrats for that. So, let's get right into it. I had a couple of questions for you. So you've told us about yourself, about your life. So we're going. If I could ask, rather, what enticed you to work abroad? I mean, a lot of guys we don't even think about, we're just thinking about like we love our country, we want to stay here, we want to get a job here, probably get married in our own country. I mean, what enticed you to seek opportunities elsewhere?
Okay. From my young age, I've always been a person who likes the outdoors, who loves adventure, and that's also I'd always wanted to incorporate that also in my works, in my engagements, and that is what led me to actually apply for that particular position. Even earlier on, before campus, I had applied to various universities abroad, uh, naming McKinsey in Australia as one of them. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join, though that can tell you a bit about what led me into not feeling as though moving out of my home country will be an issue, since with even the advent of technology, there's always that opportunity to go and work outside and even from your own home. But now moving out, for me, it wasn't a bother, since I'm an adventurous spirit.
Oh, okay. And when you applied and finally you got that answer, how did you feel? Like, were you expecting for them? Were you expecting for those results? Were you expecting to, to land on this since you had applied to different countries? How was your feeling when you finally got that letter, and how did they communicate to you?
Okay, it was definitely full of excitement. I was ecstatic, though since because of my background of career coaching, I pretty much have a feel of how the outcome will be based on how the interview session goes. This is not only for Hash but different companies. So because of that, I got out of the interview room feeling a bit positive. So it will have been a surprise if I wouldn't have been picked. Now, apart from that, now when I got the the confirmation and also the confirmation of exactly the location, I started Googling it, and because of how our country is generally among the top in Africa, that is where I started feeling a bit shaky. But since where we'll be working was confirmed to be pretty secure, it's where also other multinationals work since it's the capital. I decided, why not? I'm young and I can do this, and that's when I made up my mind to do so.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So you had a background check of the country, just to make sure like everything is all right. Because I'm sure also your parents were concerned, even your friends, people around you. I'm sure they raised some questions like concerning security, concerning where you're going to stay. I'm sure you looked into it from the different sides, and you decided you should head there. You said the multinationals helped you also because knowing that they are expatriates, also from different countries, kind of made you feel secure about the country, right?
Yeah, totally. So, as advise someone who is maybe moving out to study abroad or to work abroad, to do your own background check, since not every company is authentic, not every application process, and also in terms of either school or work is authentic. So when you do a background check of exactly where you'll be and exactly the environment, you can now be in a very good position to say yes or no, since it's not a casting stone of failure or success, since there are so many opportunities. So once I did, it's not a really stable country, that is for sure. But now where we'd be headed is a camp where we work with different multinationals, and being at the capital, that was pretty secure, and I was able to also get in touch with my colleagues who are already there, who now
Oh, okay.
confirmed, yeah, that it is pretty secure and they've been there for a while. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So you already have your colleagues, some of them working with the
Yes.
company. If I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
mistaken, you said because I'm thinking about in your application and in your correspondence with your chosen company where you want to work with, what are like some of the things to check just to know like it's this is a legit company, but they legitimately looking for people to hire. Like, what are some of the things personally for me or for my listeners? What are the some of the things somebody can look into, or some red flags where to look at in terms of is this company legit? Is it registered? Or is it's just somebody, making up a false profile, trying to hoodwink guys into a scam or something? How do you know that the company you're going to work in is legit?
Okay, it starts off from the application process. Legit companies would largely put out their names out there saying that they're looking for X and X candidates to fill up their positions out there. This is because when something is not legit, it will be fashioned in a manner to draw a particular type of people and not to everyone, so that even accountability is not on them. So that's the number one. Number two, is it also, does the company have a website? So for instance, if it's a really big multinational, there ought to be a website where you can be able to check and actually call the info numbers or info email to check whether there are hiring processes that are being done. So most people, especially if you apply locally, you don't go into such details. But once you move out of your comfort zone of your home country, it's good to do an extra background check. Now, the other thing is LinkedIn. LinkedIn should be your friend. when you are a professional, since you'll be able to log on to the company. If it's as big as it purports, it should have some kind of following, and also employees. Some of the employees ought to be in LinkedIn for sure. So when you join LinkedIn and then you create a profile and whatnot, you can be able now to connect with people who are in the company. And from those interactions, you'll be able to gauge if truly it's a position which is fraudulent or not. And the other thing as well is there's no money that you should be asked for. Even if you're moving, I don't know where, to USA, to Europe, there's no money that you should be asked for. What I spent on is the normal documents that you will need, even if you are to travel. I'm talking about a passport, a COVID-19 certificate, a yellow fever certificate, and all those things. Those are things that are universal and not specifically money being asked for particular applications. Also, the other thing, when you go to also the interviewing rooms, since we've heard of people going to Saudi Arabia and whatnot, and then they disappear like that, ensure that you know and you've told people exactly where you're going. If that particular company is foreign and is not known in Kenya, so that in case of any eventuality that might happen, there can be a quick trace as to where you were last and whatnot. And lastly, is also for those of our listeners who are Christians, you need to pray about it, since for those who are not saved, your intuition will tell you. For those that are saved, definitely your faith now will, you'll be either calm or not, depending on the particular opportunity that you engage in, whether it is for school, for work, and even for business. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm sure guys who are listening, this can really help them. And I just wanted to know, like, since you are applying to a different country, how was the interview? Was the interview online? Or did they have representatives in the country where you had like a physical meeting? How was it conducted?
Okay, since for my particular case, our headquarters is in Kenya, so most of the administration and HR bits are done from Kenya. So it was a normal interview as though I was working in Kenya. So two interviews, two sets, physical. So it was pretty much similar, since our headquarters is in Kenya, Nairobi.
Okay. So obviously, working in a different country, there are papers which are needed. Like you have to have the work permit, of course, the passport, the visa. Take us through like some of the challenges you went through getting all these papers ready, and how long did they take? And if you were to do it again, being wiser, what are some of the things that you could have avoided, just to make the process a bit faster for guys who are listening?
All right. So, firstly, I'd like to tell our viewers, if since I know most of your viewers are in the space where they want to explore outside our country and our borders, first thing, get your passport as early as you can. That was one of the major headaches, since a normal passport application process from when you apply, whether it is personally through a citizen or through the cyber cafe, it'll take 4 to 5 months to get your physical passport. So, um,
Mm.
because I wanted it a bit earlier on, there's some connections issues that not pretty well defined, whereby you need to actually follow it up in a more faster basis, which corruption also takes its toll, because if you really want to travel, uh, let's say 2 months to your application, there are certain people that who work in Nyayo or are brokers to those who work at Nyayo that you need to actually pay so that you fast track the process, which is a bit. It was not a good experience. Also, on the part of yellow fever, so number one document I said is passport. Yellow fever is another one, which is pretty quick. You get it in a day at Wilson Airport and any other big medical facility. And then after that, you need to have taken your COVID 19 vaccinations, since right now, as we are in right now, COVID 19 is just part of us. So the third requirement is a COVID 19 certification. And also, for depending on the country, you also need to actually take a test. So in my case, we will take a test once we leave. So that's another thing. In regards to the visa and work permit, my company organized for those. So right now they're still in the work in progress. So for those two, I'm not quite acquainted with them, since in my case they were organized for. And the other thing is, if you are planning to, if you're in uni, for instance, or you've graduated, you're planning to move out of the country or work out of the country, there's certain things that you need to have actually ticked off your checking list. NSSF, NHIF, PIN, good conduct. And also, in regards to your education, you need to have actually had all the certificates, originals, from KCP, KCSC, your degree, and I believe those are some of the documentation that we really were required to have on the onset. Now, before um, a certain company will now take you seriously to want to employ you, and you to for you to be the expatriate outside their country. So those are some of the documentation processes. In terms of the challenges, I said the passport, and also you need to, if at all you've not taken your COVID-19, need to actually take that jab uh, prior, so that you may not be tied down with the documentation processes of cross-border transfers. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Now you've applied, you've gotten back the confirmation. You know you're heading to a different country to work in. What about like where am I going to live? The transportation. How am I going to get there? Like, how did you make for these arrangements?
Okay, so for the transportation, I'm glad that also that will be factored into. So if, for instance, you're flying abroad or traveling for work abroad, you need to actually know whether certain things will be catered for, or you are the one who will foot the bill. So for the documentation processes, in most instances, you are the one who will do that, since it is a requirement. It's only that most of us do not have. But for things like transport, talk about air, um, it was sorted out, and that I am not well versed with them. And also for where you're gonna stay, say your accommodation and whatnot, that was also taken care of. So, for someone who is working and traveling abroad for studies, those are some of the aspects that they need to actually take into account. Now, as I earlier said, when you connect with people who are already working in a certain region where you'll be posted, who are your coworkers, those are some of the better solutions that you could get from them, so that you can be better informed whether even the whole move is worth it, in terms of even financial and mental stress that you'll get from the transition. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well said. Now, take us back to how did you get to know about these um, open job invitation? Like, you're in school. How did you get to know about this workplace?
Okay, so For me, since I really wanted to do operations, and operations is a pretty niche area when it comes to onboarding, since there's always a finance department, supply chain department, marketing, and depending on the industry, engineering people, real estate people, insurance people. But for operations, it's actually certain companies who have that specific department on its own. So for me, there are certain companies that I was looking for, and there are certain industries that I was actually eyeing. And for that, now, as I said, LinkedIn is definitely one of the places that you can go to actually know which are the industries that your particular specialty is prevalent, and where you can actually decide this is where I'll lay my eggs and actually have a best foot forward. So for me, through that, I was able to apply to various companies, some in Kenya, some abroad, and the interviewing processes embarked. There's some definitely who I wasn't able to actually get the opportunity to interview. But for this particular one, since this is also another tip I'll be sharing. If you're in the University of Nairobi in Strathmore, since I was there, there's a careers office, and you should make that office or their emailing list some of your priorities when it comes to job searches. Since now, in my particular case, we got this opportunity through the UN Careers Office. So through the emailing list, there are every week, I believe, there are definitely a number of scholarships, a number of career opportunities that are posted over there, and they're pretty legit. So when it comes back to even the question or that you asked earlier of the legitimacy of this application, it was through the university. And once you get such opportunities from those particular channels, they're legit. So I applied definitely, and one thing that you need to actually spruce up yourself in is your career documentation. I talk about LinkedIn, talking about cover letter, talking about your CV. So I applied normally, and after the first screening, they definitely uh, emailed us back that you are among X and X candidates who have been actually awarded the opportunity to interview at offices. So I went for the interviews, and then from the outcome, I was pretty ecstatic, and I knew that unless something happens, I was in. So after a few weeks, I was called and was told to report in the Nairobi offices where I am right now. And we've been starting orientation and work, and awaiting the finalization of all the documentation. Now, we talked about things like accommodation. These are things that are making us to still wait, because everything needs to be sorted out so that once we land, it's just a smooth sailing. Yeah. So I hope that I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, you have quite clearly also. I just wanted to tell our viewers, as you have heard, it's possible, it's adventurous, it's encouraged right now, especially with a African passport. I know right now they're just giving it to the diplomats, but I'm sure very soon, once we get with much lobbying and just waiting for it, I'm sure it's gonna trickle down to individuals. Guys are going to. Uh, I foresee a scenario like where with the African passport, you can literally apply anywhere in Africa and get a job and start working. I mean, that's where we are going. Really, we're not just in that generation where we are stuck in our own country, stuck within our four borders. Like if you're just working in the east, you're just working in the east, and you don't even know anything about any other country that you've not been. I believe we are moving in a shift where really working in Africa is the way to go. And I'm sure, like for you, Kelly, as an individual, once you've gotten a job at CAR and you come out, as in already on your CV, you already have international experience. So these are things that can really boost you in terms of even understanding how the reason works. It can really put you in a very important position in the future to make decisions on behalf of ESC, on behalf of the entire African continent. And so it has taken guys who are courageous, who are brave like you, to pave the way and to show us that, hey, really, we have to expand our horizons. When you are going to school, when you are in that university, don't just think about this country. Don't just think about the country that you're working in. Know that there are opportunities out there for you. And especially for Kenyans, we are known to be very hardworking people, very resourceful people. So I know that our market, I know we are out there, we are generally accepted because of how industrious we are as a people. So this should really be a call to wake up and think outside the box, expand your horizons, guys. Know about this country. Maybe single out 2 or 3 countries that you want to work in across Africa. Know about them, their cultures, things like that. I think it can really help. Which reminds me, Kelly, do you know some of the food that you're going to eat
Hmm?
right now? Like, I know you're going to miss the traditional stuff like ugali, githeri, and
Yeah.
how are you going to cope with that?
Actually, that's a challenge. Even as I spoke earlier, my colleagues who are right there, they told me to bring 10 kgs of our unga here for ugali, you know. So definitely cuisines are something that are a bit challenging at the start, but I'm pretty open. Some of the foods you asked, there's I believe uh, the ugali is, I cannot remember the name, but it has a combination of yam flour, you know, and such. But looking forward, they pretty much have a wider indigenous cuisine. So I'm looking forward to actually getting into the intricacies and get to explore even the cuisines and whatnot. Yeah.
No, awesome, awesome, Kelly. We wish you the best, and I know like we are going to follow it up. There are videos you'll be sending us. We will subscribe to your channel. We just want to know that raw, authentic a country that you're going in, the scenes. You know, I'm sure you're going to be a tourist over there. Once you've worked to a certain extent, I'm sure you'll want to explore, know more about the country, and we can't wait to explore it through your own eyes. So it's really an opportunity, and we are honored for you to answer this call and to just tell us a bit about how you're feeling and about the country that you're going to work in. And we really wish you the best. May you have God's favor as you go work in there and represent Kenya to the fullest. You know, we already have a reputation to uphold, so we don't expect anything less, but we know that you're going to really hold us down. So we would just want to thank you for that. We will continue to correspond further. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Is there any last words you want to tell the people?
All right. Maybe some of the things without definitely repeating what you've said. As a country, we are known for hard work, which you've actually said over and over. And this is when we hear about our youth not being employed, we normally confine ourselves to Kenya.
Yeah,
But when
true.
you explore, even starting from East Africa, I'd advise our fellow viewers and listeners to just explore, starting from East Africa. Do not go onto your LinkedIn and check which industries in East Africa that have opportunities and apply, because in Kenya and in East Africa, I believe we're the leading ones. Also, another aspect, if you know that you are passionate about learning a language, learning French, start with the three main ones, you know. And China is actually coming up: um, English, French, Germany. Even Chinese, even from our country as we stand, most of the contractual and engineering feats are done by the Chinese. So those are some of the edges that you can have even when you're applying to jobs and also for schools, even internationally. So with that, I'd like to thank you, Martin, for this opportunity. And I'm free to share more whenever the opportunity arises. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So that's it, guys. The interview, as far as the interview goes, you can follow us on Twitter. That is a Smart Cookie Exchange program, and also on our YouTube channel, which is a Smart Cookie XP. So with that said, I see you guys later. Have a good one.